Have you ever felt lost amidst the chaos of life, like a small boat swaying in an endless ocean? Some days we wake up with an emptiness inside, as if all our efforts and the meaning we once sought have become blurred and distant. But you know what? Sometimes, in the most uncertain moments, all it takes is one small change, a thought, an action, or a guiding principle, to illuminate your entire life. I used to think that change required a miracle or a long, arduous journey. But no, what I discovered from the 7 principles of Stoic philosophy was quite the opposite. Real change begins with the simplest things. And in just one day, you can feel the power of these principles at work. Today, I'll share with you these timeless principles, the profound wisdom of individuals who lived thousands of years ago, yet whose teachings resonate just as strongly in our modern age. These aren't just abstract theories. They are practical values I've applied to my life, leading to profound transformation. If you're ready, let's embark on this journey together. Who knows? Perhaps your day will be transformed just as mine once was. 1. Action over intention. Have you ever wondered why your life seems to be stuck in place, even though you have countless dreams and plans? Perhaps you've blamed circumstances, time, or even yourself, but the truth is, the only thing separating you from the life you want is action. We often fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or a sudden surge of confidence. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that you don't need to wait another second, because real change begins the moment you decide to act. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This statement is not just advice, it's a wake-up call. Stop explaining, stop dreaming, stop crafting perfect plans on paper. Instead, let your actions speak, because every life philosophy, no matter how beautiful, is meaningless if not realized through action. Reflect on yourself. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start, but not today"? And then today becomes tomorrow, this year turns into the next, and your grand dreams remain just that, dreams. Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher king, wrote in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." He reminds us that instead of drowning in thoughts about what to do or what to be, we should focus on acting immediately. There's no better time than the present, and every moment you spend not acting is a moment lost, a moment that could have changed your life. Let me share a story with you. There was a woman named Sarah who spent 5 years dreaming of opening a small cafe where people could find warmth amidst the hustle and bustle of life. But for those 5 years, she kept procrastinating, giving herself countless reasons. I need to save more money. I need to learn more about business, or I need the perfect location. One day, Sarah decided to start anyway, even if it was just a small coffee stand on a street corner. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't grand, but she began. That first step opened doors she never imagined, loyal customers, opportunities to expand, and more. Sarah didn't just change her own life, she inspired those around her. Seneca, in Letters to Lucilius, wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." We often view big goals as insurmountable mountains, but the truth is, it's our fear of failure and lack of action that makes those mountains seem so daunting. A small step today, even if imperfect, is the start of a great journey. Do you want to write a book? Begin with the first page. Want to improve your health? Do a 10-minute workout. Want a better relationship? Send a message apologizing or expressing care today. Small actions are the seeds of great change. Remember the story of Nick Vujicic, the man born without arms or legs, yet who has touched the hearts of millions around the world. Nick didn't wait for a miracle to change his fate. He chose to act with what he had, an indomitable spirit and a strong belief that he could make a difference. From his initial, challenging speeches, Nick rose to the global stage, inspiring millions not just with his words, but with his courageous actions. Ask yourself, what have you been putting off? What can you do right now to get closer to your goals? Your actions don't need to be grand or perfect, but they need to begin. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power lies in your hands. You can't wait for the world to change to fit you, but you can change the way you live, starting now. So, why not begin today? A small step can shake the course of a long journey. Miracles only happen when you dare to act. 2. Embrace change. Have you ever felt afraid of sudden life changes, as if the world itself were turning its back on you? Change is often seen as an invisible enemy, pushing us out of our comfort zones and forcing us to confront the unpredictable. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that instead of fearing change, we should recognize it as inevitable and learn to embrace it as a natural part of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in the Meditations, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are and to make new things like them." The universe is always in motion, and as a part of it, we must accept that everything transforms. It is within change that we find growth opportunities. Take a moment to reflect. Are you clinging to something simply because you're afraid of losing it? Perhaps it's a job you no longer love but are hesitant to leave, a relationship drained of sincerity, or even old habits you know no longer serve you. Why are you afraid of change? Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." To move into a new chapter of life, we must accept that the old one needs to close. The pain we feel when facing change often doesn't come from the change itself, but from our resistance to it. A remarkable example of embracing change comes from the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of the famous Harry Potter series. Before achieving monumental success, she endured painful transformations: divorce, job loss, and living in poverty. Yet, instead of succumbing to self-pity, Rowling accepted her reality and used it as motivation to write the work that would change her life forever. By embracing change, she not only overcame adversity, but achieved accomplishments far beyond her expectations. Stoic philosophy advises us to view change not as a threat, but as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves and discover new meaning in life. Epictetus, in Discourses, wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." For instance, if you lose your job, it doesn't have to be a failure. It could be a doorway to a new opportunity that aligns more closely with your passions. If a relationship ends, rather than lamenting, ask yourself, what has this taught me about myself and what I need for the future? In real life, a friend of mine experienced a major upheaval. She was forced to leave the city she loved because her company relocated her. Initially, she felt disappointed and angry, but over time, she realized this change brought opportunities to live closer to family, explore a new environment, and most importantly, rediscover balance in her life. which she had lost due to an overly demanding job. She turned an unwelcome change into a positive outcome simply by shifting her perspective. Change is not an enemy. It is our greatest teacher. It teaches us flexibility, adaptability, and the strength to overcome adversity. Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Every loss, whether it's a job, possession, or relationship, is part of life's natural cycle. If you embrace change, you will find peace, even amidst life's greatest storms. So, how will your face change? Will you cling to what has passed, or will you open yourself to the new possibilities life has to offer? Remember, no one can defy the laws of time and the universe, but you can learn to make the most of them. Let change become your ally, not your enemy, and you will see that life constantly opens new doors when you're brave enough to walk through them. Let's move on to the third secret on the journey of discovering and conquering the best version of ourselves. But first, I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered where your life is headed and who truly holds responsibility for it? At times, you may feel like a victim of circumstances, of unexpected events, or of failures you didn't anticipate. But pause for a moment and think more deeply. Is it not how we respond to life that ultimately shapes the path ahead? This question invites us to delve into the third secret, personal responsibility. 3. Take personal responsibility. Stoic philosophy teaches that personal responsibility is not just about facing difficulties on your own, but recognizing that you have complete control over your attitude and actions. This responsibility is the gateway to freedom and inner strength. What happens to you is less important than how you respond to it. This isn't just advice. It's a truth that has transformed countless lives. Think about times when you faced hardship, losing a job, a relationship breakdown, or failing at a goal you had high hopes for. How did you respond? Did you complain that the world was unfair, that people around you didn't understand you? Or did you pause, confront the issue, and ask yourself, what did I do wrong? How can I do better? When you realize that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control your thoughts and actions, you'll find the strength to overcome any adversity. Take the story of Viktor Frankl as an example. A neurologist and philosopher, Frankl was imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps where everything, his family, freedom, and dignity, was stripped away. In what seemed like a hopeless situation, Frankl discovered that there was one thing no one, not even the most brutal oppressors, could take away: his ability to choose how he responded to his circumstances. He wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Instead of succumbing to despair, Frankl chose to see suffering as an opportunity to find meaning. He helped other prisoners, gave them hope, and survived to share his story, becoming an endless source of inspiration for humanity. His story is a vivid testament that, even in the harshest conditions, personal responsibility is the key to freedom and hope. Personal responsibility is not only vital in extreme circumstances, but is also a guiding principle in everyday life. Consider a simple yet profound example. In 2014, Prosper Otemuyiwa, a software engineer from Nigeria, realized he lacked the connections to secure his dream job. Instead of blaming the education system or society, he took responsibility for himself. He started learning programming from free resources and dedicated countless hours to building personal projects. In just a few years, he became one of Africa's most renowned developers, invited to speak at international conferences. Personal responsibility transformed him from someone seemingly constrained by his circumstances into a shining example of perseverance and success. But taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything. It's not about self-reproach, but acknowledging that you have the power to decide how to react. This is not a burden, but a gift, because it gives you the chance to create change. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You are truly free only when you master yourself, and this begins with realizing that you are responsible for everything in your life. Apply this principle today. When faced with difficulty, instead of looking for someone to blame, ask yourself, what can I do to change the situation? What can I learn from this failure? If you're unhappy in a relationship, reflect, what have I done to improve it? Have I truly listened and tried to understand? Personal responsibility not only helps you solve problems faster, but also helps you grow through every challenge. We want to extend our heartfelt gratitude and congratulations to you for making it halfway through today's video. Your presence here is a testament to your readiness for this journey. Now, let's turn our attention to the remaining 4 principles, pausing to reflect as we continue the process of self-improvement. 4. Learn from mentorship. In exploring the profound wisdom of Stoicism, I was deeply impressed by Seneca's famous quote, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." Have you ever paused to ask yourself how you can transform your life most effectively and swiftly? The answer doesn't always lie in solitary efforts or figuring everything out on your own. One of the most profound principles Stoic philosophy teaches us is this: learn from the guidance of those who have gone before you, the people we call mentors. Learning from a mentor isn't about dependence. It's about the humility to acknowledge that we can shorten the path to knowledge and success by leveraging the experiences of others. But have you ever wondered how to find a true mentor? And more importantly, are you open enough to learn from them? Epictetus emphasized, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." One of the most crucial qualities of a good learner is the ability to listen. Learning from a mentor isn't just about hearing what they say. It's about absorbing how they live, the values they uphold, and how they confront challenges. Look at history, and you'll find legendary mentor-student relationships that have shaped not just personal lives, but the world itself. Socrates mentored Plato, Plato mentored Aristotle, and Aristotle guided Alexander the Great. Each step in this intellectual lineage wasn't just knowledge passed down through words, but also wisdom demonstrated through actions, creating individuals who were not only wise, but also capable of transforming their eras. Even Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius had mentors. In Meditations, he wrote about Antoninus Pius, the Roman emperor before him, as a model of virtue and leadership. From my grandfather Verus I learned good morals and the government of my temper. What Marcus learned from his mentor wasn't just the art of governance, but also the critical lesson of mastering his emotions, one of the cornerstone teachings of Stoicism. In modern life, the role of a mentor is even more essential as we navigate an overwhelming influx of information and fierce competition. A lesser-known but inspiring story is that of Howard Schultz, who transformed Starbucks from a small coffee shop into a global empire. Early in his career, Schultz sought guidance from Bill Gates Sr., father of Microsoft's co-founder. Gates didn't just teach Schultz business skills, He also showed him how to build a brand rooted in human values. The mentorship helped Schultz become not only a successful entrepreneur, but also a humane leader, an attribute he cherished throughout his journey. First, it requires humility to admit that you don't know everything. This is not easy, as our egos often lead us to believe we can overcome challenges alone. But, as Seneca wisely said, you must linger among a limited number of master thinkers and digest their works if you would derive ideas which shall win firm hold in your mind. True growth requires choosing the right people to learn from, individuals who not only possess knowledge but also embody the values you aspire to. This takes careful selection and patience. Second, you need to act. Learning from a mentor isn't about copying them, but applying their lessons to your circumstances. For example, if you're starting a business, seek someone who has faced similar challenges. They may not provide perfect solutions for every problem, but their experience can help you avoid unnecessary mistakes. If you want to improve your leadership skills, observe how leaders you admire communicate, resolve conflicts, and inspire others. Learning from a mentor is not just a way to achieve success faster, but also a journey to better understand yourself. Stoic philosophy reminds us that knowledge holds no value if it isn't practiced. Let the principle of learning from guidance be your beacon, taking you further on the path to meaning and success. Your life doesn't have to be a solitary journey. There are always those who've gone before you, ready to guide you, if only you know how to seek and listen. Now, we're curious. Who is someone you admire and can learn from? Have you truly listened to them, not just with your ears, but with your heart? And more importantly, have you dared to apply their lessons to your own life? Your story could be a source of inspiration and reflection for us all. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. 5. Purposeful action. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, do your daily actions truly bring value, or are they merely meaningless repetitions of old habits? In a world filled with noise and distractions, it's easy to get swept up in a cycle of aimless tasks, hasty decisions, or actions done just to get by. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that to live a meaningful life, we must act with clear intent, understanding the purpose behind everything we do. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in the Meditations, "People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when hard at work." Working hard without a purpose is like running on a hamster wheel. You exhaust yourself, but never truly move forward. Purposeful action is not just about working in an organized way, but about making decisions rooted in your core values and long-term goals. Imagine a day filled with tasks, answering emails, attending meetings, and addressing unexpected issues. Yet by the end of the day, you feel like you haven't achieved anything meaningful. This is the consequence of acting without direction. Stoic philosophy teaches that we should not only work hard, but work meaningfully. Seneca once wrote, "When a man does not know to what port he is steering, no wind is favorable." Without knowing where you're heading, all efforts become futile. An inspiring real-world example of the power of purposeful action is the story of John Wooden, the legendary American basketball coach. Wooden didn't just teach his players basketball skills, he also guided them on how to live meaningful lives. He started every practice by teaching his players something as basic as how to tie their shoelaces. While this might sound odd, Wooden believed that even the smallest actions must be done with focus and intention. He held that greatness could only be achieved by excelling in the smallest tasks with purpose. The result? His team won 10 NCAA championships in 12 years, an unmatched record. Purposeful action also requires learning to say no to things that don't serve your goals. In modern life, we're often tempted by distractions, meaningless conversations, aimless scrolling on social media, or tasks that seem urgent but are ultimately unimportant. Have you ever asked yourself, is this worth my time and energy? Marcus Aurelius advised, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? This simple but powerful question can help you focus on what truly matters, eliminate distractions, and make better decisions. A real-life illustration of the impact of purposeful action comes from Greg McKeown, author of the best-selling book, Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. After years of chasing success and burning out from doing too much, McKeown realized that not everything is important. He decided to focus on actions aligned with his core values and long-term goals. This shift not only changed how he worked, but also helped him lead a more meaningful and balanced life. Purposeful action, as McKeown discovered, isn't just a tool for achieving goals. It's a way to live fully and deeply in every moment. Purposeful action is the foundation of a life worth living. It not only makes you more effective, but also ensures that every moment feels valuable. Stoic philosophy reminds us, don't live as if you had 1,000 years to live. Fate is hanging over you. While you're alive, while you still exist, be good. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. Live with focus, with meaning, and with intent. Life is finite, and every action is an opportunity to move closer to the best version of yourself. So, are you ready to act purposefully starting today? What is your greatest goal, and what will you do to work toward it right now? Remember, only by acting with intent can you truly take control of your life. 6. Commit to self-improvement. Have you ever looked at yourself and asked, have I truly lived up to my potential? Is there something I can do better today than I did yesterday? Stoic philosophy reminds us that life is a journey of constant self-improvement, one step at a time, becoming better every day. The principle of continuous self-improvement is not just an idealistic call, but a practical path to living a meaningful life. To become the best version of yourself, you must first identify clear goals and then work steadily toward them, persistently and relentlessly. Continuous self-improvement begins with accepting that we are not perfect, but we always can improve. This does not mean criticizing or undervaluing yourself, but humbly recognizing that every day is an opportunity to learn and grow. Consider the story of Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers and a symbol of continuous self-improvement. From a young age, Franklin created a list of 13 virtues he wanted to cultivate, ranging from orderliness and frugality to humility. Each week, he focused on one virtue, evaluating and correcting his shortcomings. Franklin knew he couldn't achieve perfection overnight, but by improving little by little, he built his greatness. His story highlights that self-improvement doesn't require dramatic, immediate changes, but rather small, consistent steps over time. How can we apply this principle in modern life, where everything moves so fast and time always seems scarce? The answer lies in building positive habits. Start with the smallest actions. Read 10 pages a day, meditate for 15 minutes, or keep a journal to reflect on yourself. The key is to continuously ask, What have I done today to get closer to my goals? These small efforts, when done consistently, will accumulate into significant results over time. As Seneca said, "While we wait for life, life passes." Don't wait for perfect conditions to start. Do the best you can with what you have right now. A thought-provoking example comes from the philosophy of the Kaizen, Japan's principle of continuous improvement. After World War II, Japan faced severe economic and social devastation. Instead of seeking grand, immediate changes, they focused on small, continuous improvements in every area, from production and management to personal life. This philosophy played a key role in transforming Japan into an economic powerhouse. It's a vivid demonstration that continuous self-improvement applies not only to individuals, but can also drive the progress of an entire nation. But what holds us back on the journey of self-improvement? Is it the fear of failure or the belief that our efforts aren't enough to make a difference? In reality, failure is not a barrier. It is an essential part of growth. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." Challenges and failures are lessons that reveal our weaknesses and help us grow stronger. So instead of avoiding difficulties, see them as opportunities to test and improve yourself. Ask yourself, what are you doing today to become a better version of yourself? What goals have you set, and are you taking small steps toward achieving them? Life is a series of moments to learn, change, and grow. Don't hesitate to start, even with the smallest changes. Let positive thoughts and consistent actions guide you toward a life worth living. Continuous self-improvement is not a destination, but an endless journey. Every day is an opportunity to do something better, to learn more, and to become someone you are proud of. You don't have to achieve greatness in a single day, but if you keep improving, greatness will find you someday. Start today, because no one else but you can decide the quality of your life. 7. Focus on contribution. Stoic philosophy, with its intrinsic focus on the deep connection between individuals and society, asserts that the greatest meaning of our lives lies not in what we keep for ourselves, but in what we give. Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor and philosopher, wrote in Meditations, "What is your vocation? To be a good person." This reminder extends beyond self-improvement. It is a call to live for a higher purpose, one that transcends ourselves, a purpose rooted in contributing to society and connecting with the community. Take a moment to reflect on the world around you. How many of your daily actions truly bring value to others? In the fast-paced rhythm of modern life, we can easily get caught up in the cycle of competition, self-interest, and personal accumulation, forgetting that humans are inherently social beings. Connection with the community is at the core of what gives life meaning. Stoic philosophy reminds us that through giving, we not only help others, but also heal ourselves. Seneca wrote, "No one can live happily who has regard to himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his utility. You must live for your neighbor if you would live for yourself." True happiness does not come from what you receive, but from what you give. Consider the story of Kailash Satyarthi, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate who dedicated his life to fighting child labor. As a successful engineer, Satyarthi could have chosen a stable, comfortable life focused on personal gains. Instead, he devoted himself to rescuing thousands of children from forced labor. His journey not only transformed the lives of these children, but also inspired millions worldwide. His dedication is not merely an act of compassion, but a clear embodiment of Stoic philosophy, living for the community is how we find purpose and true happiness. But do we need to reach the stature of someone like Satyarthi to contribute and connect? The answer is no. Contribution doesn't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes, small acts like listening to someone in need, helping a friend through tough times, or volunteering for a community activity can make a significant difference. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Every day presents an opportunity to make the world around us better, even through simple yet sincere actions. Reflect on this simple question. When was the last time you did something good without expecting anything in return? Perhaps you helped a friend through a crisis, or simply spent time sharing and connecting with a family member. Such acts, though small, not only bring joy to others, but also add depth to your own life. Another compelling example is a group in Japan called Osuji Tai, volunteer teams who clean streets and parks. Remarkably, they do this without expecting compensation, but find joy and fulfillment in knowing their actions make public spaces cleaner and more beautiful. This exemplifies Stoic philosophy in modern practice, acting for the greater good without seeking rewards. So, where will you start to contribute and connect with the world around you? Ask yourself, what can you do today to bring value to others? It could be a word of encouragement, an act of sincere help, or simply a kind gesture you hadn't considered before. Stoic philosophy teaches that by living for the community, you enrich not only society, but also your soul. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Let your actions today become a beautiful echo in the eternal flow of time. Finally, if you were to ask me what truly changed my life in just one day, the answer would be embracing and practicing the principles of Stoic philosophy. In a single moment of awareness, I realized that happiness is not a destination but a journey. Stoicism is not mere theory. It is a powerful reminder that each day is an opportunity to live true to your values and to become a better version of yourself, not just for your own sake, but also for the sake of others. If you are searching for change, a way to live with greater strength and purpose, let these principles guide you. Remember, life is not always easy, but how we face it is what truly matters. Every step, every decision, and every small action can make a difference. So, are you ready to change? Are you willing to live fully by these principles, to not only transform your life, but also create a positive impact on those around you? The answer lies within you, reflected in every thought, every action, and every day you live. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button to support the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments and share the video with your friends and family to spread the beautiful values of Stoic philosophy. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos on Stoic living and personal growth.